Then can we begin the session?
Yes, please, we can start. If everyone is ready, then we can go ahead.
Sure, ma'am. So
All right.
then I'll just start with the session. So once again,
Okay.
good evening, everyone. I welcome everyone to day 8 of 11-day online faculty development program organized by School of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies at RJNUL Punjab in collaboration with Law Teachers India. I am Aryan Gupta, a third-year law student at the Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, Punjab, and your moderator for today's session on developing a flawless roadmap of research, a predeterminant of flawless teaching. And we are honored to have as Dr. Divyansha, we are honored to have Dr. Divyansha Kumar as our guest speaker for the day. Dr. Divyansha is a seasoned academician researcher with over 10 years of experience in teaching, research, and industry. Currently serving as an assistant professor at Chitkara University, Punjab, Dr. Kumar has previously been associated with renowned illustrations such as Amity University, Mohali, and Symbiosis International Deemed University. Dr. Kumar holds a PhD in management from Symbiosis International Deemed University, Pune, and is a UGC NET qualified assistant professor. She is well versed in advanced research tools including SPSS, AMOS, MS Excel, and has contributed extensively to her research in the areas of sustainable marketing practices, consumer behavior, digital economy, and circular economies. Her scholarly contributions include research papers in Scopus Index journals, book chapters with esteemed publishers like Emerald and Springer, and impactful news articles. Beyond research, Dr. Kumar has delivered guest lectures, chaired academic panels in prestigious universities in India. She has also recorded educational content for government initiatives like Swayam Prabha Project and Ministry of Education, Government of India. So, without any further ado, ma'am, we are will we'd like you to present your views on the topic at hand today.
Once again, Dr. Divyansha, welcome to the board. Thank you so much for saying a yes to our request. Please go ahead. Please.
The pleasure is all mine, ma'am, and the honor is more than that. Thank you so much once again for having me, Kalpesh sir and Jasdeep ma'am. Deeply humbled and honored. So let's start. So my topic for the lecture is actually developing a flawless roadmap of research that is a predeterminant of flawless teaching. So before I start the lecture, I just wanted to have everyone's view on why do you think research matters at all, especially in the line of teaching, academics, or professional development? If I can get any view. We are all academicians. Most of us will be academicians here on the platform. So why do you think we need research, or why do people keep pushing us to do research at all?
Participants can raise their hands and the moderator will unmute them. Please, you're most welcome. Bye, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Sabia ma'am. So if you have any views, you can type it actually in the message as well. So any views on why do you think research is necessary?
We have a hand raised. Alan, please see that.
Okay, so we have an answer. One answer is research keeps us updated with the recent knowledge and information. Yes, excellent.
Alan, please
Any other view?
Watch
Yes,
on the raised hand, please.
Yes, ma'am. We have Dr. Geet
Yes.
who would like to present her views. So, Dr. Geet can either unmute herself or she can answer the chat box. Okay, ma'am. We have one response. Dr. Geet has given a response to generate more knowledge. Then we have Mr. Syed Samir Ali, who is responding in order to update and innovate research necessary.
Excellent. So the viewpoints here are in line, and I think we'll have a discussion about these viewpoints in today's lecture only. Some more additive points would be there. So, okay, I'm getting a lot of responses. So yes, I think most of us are on the same domain, and we'll be talking about the same line in the coming lecture. So let's start. I will start by sharing my screen first. So just let me know, Aryan, if it's visible.
Sure, ma'am.
Just 1 second. All right. So if it's visible, please let me know.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible. Firefox from your screen right now.
The presentation is not visible.
No, ma'am. I see the browser open Firefox.
Firefox is open. The search engine is open. Yeah.
Is it now visible?
Getting visible. Yes. Now it's open.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything
Yes,
is
ma'am, it's visible.
All right, excellent. So, like I said, the topic for my lecture would be developing a flawless roadmap of research, and I've got actually very good, interesting answers of what is the first question, that is why research matters at all, especially in academics or in teaching professional development. So, and I've got really good answers. So in line with that, because we are into academics, we know education, it's a constant process of inquiry. If we don't inquire about what we're going to teach, how will we know what we're going to teach? How will we increase the depth of that knowledge, right? And this is a quote by Paulo Freire, which aptly, I think, aligns with all our thoughts. So, and as educators, it's an ever evolving role, because we are not just supposed to dispense knowledge, we're also supposed to become facilitators. As in, if we are teaching something, sharing any knowledge, we're supposed to portray that knowledge and actually show the students also how it's done. So, in order to understand that, we need to know the in-depth part of each topic, and that is what research is all about. It is searching for the in-depth knowledge. Also, when we start the first process of research, we also have the objective behind it of adding a new part of knowledge to the existing knowledge. That is what our aim is, and that's where we start to do the entire work. All right. Now, so linkages between research and teaching excellence. So these are the few linkage that are existing. One is, of course, it strengthens the judgment, the instructional design, and the curriculum. So there is one way of delivering the entire teaching lecture. One, you study what is there in the lecture notes, in the lecture book, what you've studied, and you go and deliver it. But if we do our research in that particular topic, in that particular subject area that we're teaching, then we come to know certain things, certain insights that actually adds the depth to our knowledge. Second, it enables us sharing, practicing, and actually understand the challenges. So I think it happens with a lot of us. While we are discussing any topic, there will be certain points that the students challenge us, or maybe our mind challenges us. Okay, this is something, there's a gap in this particular part, and we can actually always challenge it or design something around it. And that instills the part of research. Our teaching actually links us back to the research. So research is a roadmap which leads to actually teaching excellence. Now, what is the benefit behind it? One of the benefit, of course, is it drives the evidence-based teaching. When you're teaching purely on the base of knowledge and there is no evidence behind it, it's just sharing an opinion. But when you have hardcore data, when you have research backing it, it is one of the purest form of excellent teaching, right? Also, it encourages innovation and adaptability. For example, if I talk about myself, if I'm teaching a topic and if I'm able to think over that topic in such a manner that my discussions lead to certain gaps that are existing, or my students instill me to think over certain gaps that are actually not covered in that particular topic. So that encourages innovation, adaptability. And if I stop there, if I don't go on and do my research on that or start to develop something on that, I am actually stopping the ideas from being formulated and being added to the subject knowledge, right? Thirdly, of course, it builds a reflective and inquiry driven educators. If I am not inquiry driven, if I'm not reflecting back, going back, reflecting on my lectures, reflecting on my notes, reflecting on my research, then I'm not bringing anything new to the classroom. So, in order to do that, let's just quickly go through the entire research process. This is the entire roadmap which we ideally go through as a part of research. First, of course, is the problem identification. There's a very famous quote by Albert Einstein which says that if I get 1 hour of solving a problem, I'll spend 55 minutes into defining it and just 5 minutes into solving it. So main part behind doing research or the entire road is first and foremost doing an in-depth research about identifying the main problem behind it. Second, of course, how do you identify the problem? Once you've identified, you do a solid review out of it. Whatever existing literature is there, I try and assemble all of them and gather whatever existing models, knowledge, anything that has been published, not published in fact, in white papers, gather everything and see what I can add on to that. Then, of course, when I recognize those gaps, the hypothesis and model testing is done. I build on those hypotheses, I test those hypotheses with the help of a design, that is a research design that I develop, that if I want to do an inquiry-based research or an empirical research, I would probably propose an empirical design for that. Maybe I want to collect data from the customers. Maybe I want to collect data from my students and do an inquiry about something that is happening in the education system that is hampering their knowledge. So how do I design the entire research? That is a research design. Then, of course, the data collection part, whether it's a primary data collection or a secondary data collection. Once I collect the data, I'll go on to processing that data, that is cleaning that data, entering that data into certain softwares if it is required. If it's qualitative, of course, it can be converted into certain softwares and can be analyzed as well in today's time. After the analysis, of course, comes to the testing part, and then finally discussion. Now, this discussion is what leads to the classroom teaching. I think the last phase of the research process is the first phase of classroom teaching. The research ends here and the classroom teaching begins, and it's a never-ending process. When the classroom teaching goes on, you will again identify a problem from there, and then you start working on your research. So this arrow is where the classroom is fitting in. So let's start. First is the identification of a problem. You identify any challenges that you face in the classroom. There can be any curriculum relevance challenges or any assessments that you are doing and you find that there is a gap. You try and identify, you collect that particular gap, implement it in your research, and you evaluate whether the gap that you've recognized was true or not. Second, of course, is doing the review part, like I said. Having a very strong scholarly work, you identify certain gaps, right? So what we tend to do, we tend to read a lot of research papers, also certain books that are there available, and we gather data from there. If we are able to also gather data from certain classroom discussions and put in there, I think that will also build in a very strong literature base. Then, of course, selecting that, doing the entire part, adding the gap, and then further enhancing the methodology part by doing a mixed method or a qualitative method. And finally, adding on your ethics and your design to that. So this gives a basic mathematical equation, if you come, that a strong literature base plus sound methodology would give us meaningful outcomes for classroom and practice. So in this same entire process that I said, the third part was the collection of data. So in the data collection part, if we see, first is, of course, you collect the data from different sources, then you try and convert them. So as a teacher, you turn into a researcher of practice. And whatever data you're collecting, you try and judge it on the basis of how will this be beneficial when I improvise on this, when I analyze this, how will I then teach this in the classroom? So that is the part that we do here. Okay. Now, after you're done with the entire data part, you go on to the implementation into teaching. Now, this is very interesting. Like I said, once you've analyzed it, you come to discussion part. How do you actually do it as a part of teaching? So when you're preparing the curriculum, especially what I try to do and what we've been following this for the past some time. So we try and inculcate our own research or our colleagues' research or anyone who we've collaborated or we've read about into our curriculum. So any research papers that are important, we always try and have a discussion on that in the classroom. So that's very important to have a discussion or a research-based pedagogy when you are going for any classroom or lecture teaching. Or you can have assessments also based on that. So that's an important part. If you ask the students to go through all the research, any interesting knowledge that they can come up with, and you base your assessment any part of case studies methodology. So case study is a big part of research, academic research, which is highly used in the pedagogy part while we are teaching, right? So that's also one of the major part which is connected to the research and the teaching. All right, now let's come to how it benefits us. It improves the continuous based on findings. So if I'm teaching one thing in 1 year and next semester I have, let's say next year I have the same course. Now if I'm not adding anything new to my course by doing my own research, I am not, let's say, improvising my teaching. I'm not adding that extra X factor to my teaching. I'm not going for a teaching excellence. I am just following a plain pedagogy of repeating myself, right? So in order to do that, in order to have a fluent, improved teaching and aiming for excellence, I should actually work on my current topic that I'm teaching. So that's how you improve continuously based on whatever findings that you have. Next is research, and research how it leads to product outcomes. So if I have this at the back of my mind that whatever I'm teaching today, I need to find a gap in that. And of course, I will always find a gap. If I have that at the back of my mind that whatever topic I'm teaching today, let's find at least one gap and let's work on that the next time that I'm teaching this class. So you would definitely be able to do proceed for excellence in this. So this is what the step 4 is: implementation of your research into teaching. Now step 5 is reflection and dissemination. So reflecting it on the student learning impact. Once you have done your research part, are you actually thinking that the students are able to benefit from that? Is it reflecting on the student or not? And is it also reflecting on the body of knowledge that is there existing in your niche area that you are a part of the academic world? Second, whatever you are researching, are you able to publish it in the AIM journals that are actually there in your subject area? Are you able to share it further? Because in today's digital age, if I'm doing the research and I'm keeping it with myself, I'm not benefiting anyone. And the whole idea of doing research is actually to reflect on so that people are able to read, they can critique on it, they can probably have a discussion on it, and you go on to and gather and collaborate on that topic. So if I'm not sharing it, if I'm not presenting my research anywhere, then I'm not actually doing justice to that. And third, of course, inquiry mindsets leads to growth. If I always have this part of inquiry in my mind, this inquisitiveness, that, let's try and find out something in this topic, whatever I'm going to teach, or something that the student maybe had reflected on, that leads to your own growth and the growth of your classroom as well. And of course, your institution at the end. Okay, now coming on to the challenges and considerations. First, of course, it's completely understandable that in academics, there is a lot of workload. We have a lot of subjects to teach, and these challenges do come in between research. We as researchers, as academicians first, tend to think or reflect on, with all the number of lecture hours, with all the number of administrative works as well, how can we find time or how can we divide our workload in the institution? So for that, of course, institutional support is also required. Certain, I would say, incentives are also required, which actually helps us or motivates us, certain motivation factors. Just maybe a small ceremony or a small conference that happens in the institute that keeps on happening. I see in RJ a lot of conferences happening, which actually pushes you to do research, right? We add in those small times to do that part of research. Next is ensuring contextual and practical research. Now, if we are adding on to the knowledge, but it's not a part of anything into practice, or it's not something which is bringing a context to something, then we are not justifying that part of research. So we should always ensure that the contextual part of the research is there, and also it is practical in nature. Now, last but not the least, we should always build a culture of inquiry. It's very famously said that if a culture of inquiry is built, we tend to grow in our minds. We tend to add on the creativity part in our mind. Our mind starts to think a lot while we come to that part. So this is how we think and we build on the research. Now, linking everything to flawless teaching. Research-based teaching, of course, gives us clarity. It improves the outcomes. This has been based on certain research papers that I was also going through. So if you have a research-based teaching, it will lead to clarity. It will lead to improved outcomes. Your classroom learning, your classroom teaching would definitely improve if you inculcate certain researches in your area of practice. Secondly, the research roadmap leads to excellence as a blueprint that I've been discussing throughout. That if you have this at the back of your mind, that there is a roadmap and I need to go through that roadmap and I need to have a blueprint around it, then it will definitely end up into teaching excellence. Okay, before I proceed, I would just like to ask a small question to the audience. The question is for the audience, how many of us actually reflect back or have actually done that in the part of classroom teaching? I would just like to know, have any of you, while going through certain topics, you remembered something or you came across some particular topic and you actually did research on that? Has anyone reflected back on those topics? Your thoughts, audience. Has any one of us actually reflected back on the research?
Participants may please raise their hands. We'll unmute them. You can write your comments here. Yes. There are lots of messages in the chat box, I think. I'm not wrong.
All right, great. So we have reflected that once. Exactly. So I think it's my learning also. And if you do implement this, you will be able to teach it in a better way. So make it a practice. Whenever you are whenever you're learning for a particular lecture, you always have at the back of your mind, you note down, keep on noting those points that, okay, this is something which is a gap. I think I can actually work on this particular part, because that's actually happened to me a several amount of time, that I study a topic and I see that this gap is there. I really need to work on this, and maybe we'll be able to come up with certain great research insights which would actually help not just us as academician, but the body of knowledge, and also the students for whom we're actually doing everything, right? For whom we're actually developing the entire knowledge system. So bringing back to the classroom is what should be at the back of our mind. What is new that we are bringing back to the classroom? How can we bring something new to the classroom, which has not been there previously? And that is what intrigues everyone in the part where you're preparing for the lecture. So thank you so much for the feedback. I will now continue with the slide. Is my slide visible?
Yes, Dr. Divyansha, yes, visible again. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So this is what I was trying to say, that this research linking is a great part. And how we can do this, we can actually not If we don't have time, we understand that every one of us, we don't have so much of time that we go on for a full project or a research paper every time, but we can do mini action research each semester. Let's work on, let's say, a small book, or let's work on a small chapter of a book, or let's work on a small case study, right? And have that at the back of my mind. So for this current semester, let's if I'm teaching 3 subjects, I should be at least be able to come up with 3 different case studies that I can publish, and my students can learn from that, because I'm already learning a lot of topics, I'm already reading upon them. So why not develop certain case studies? And every day we come up with new examples. Every day in the news, we can link those news to the topics that we're teaching and develop new case studies. And there are ample of opportunities there. Every good institute in the world, in India, is, I think we as researchers, we as academicians keep on getting these emails, right? Submit your case studies. There is ample of opportunity, but we, I think, tend to fall back on that and don't proceed, even when we have great ideas in our mind. So that part we are missing. So how we can actually work on that is, first, do mini action research projects, mini action research each semester. That is how we climb the ladder. Second, of course, is having research collaborations. Now, research is not a very, can be a very lonely journey if you do it all alone. But if you have great collaborations, not just with the fellow faculty or colleagues, but with your students, because students actually have brighter ideas, which is what I have felt, that their minds are so bright and they are able to come up with such great things that if you collaborate with them, if you nurture them, if you push them, they'll be able to come up with great insights in research. So always go for collaboration, push your students as well and yourself, and collaborate with your colleagues and collaborate with anyone whom you are able to network with. Because research, if done alone, can be a very lonely journey and can sometimes play a toll on your mental health as well. So always try and collaborate, do your bit, and have an open communication with your collaborators. Next, of course, is the methodology, workshops, and mentoring that we are doing right now. So we can always attend workshop, think of different methodologies that can be adapted, and go on for mentoring. So one of the major steps is try and find a mentor who will be able to help you out in this matter. So for example, some of us are great in empirical, some of us are great in doctrinal research, some of us are good in making case studies. So you can always collaborate, find someone who's great in one thing and learn from them, or do our part and do a mixed methodology research in that part. So this is how we actually build on these methodologies, how we try and learn from these things. And this is how we design the entire roadmap. Second is the institutional support, which is extremely required for this. One, of course, is providing research time and mentorship. I think all the institutes can actually do that. Have a particular hour of research time in a week, in a month, dedicated purely to just discussion, open discussions. Bring your own research papers, like you do, like we have book clubs. You can have research clubs as well. Every week, let's say every Friday or every last week of the month, bring your research papers that most, or bring some topic that you studied in a book or some case that you studied somewhere, and discuss about it and see how we can build over it, how we can actually improvise that part. Second, of course, is mentoring, which is extremely important. If we are able to find someone who's able to mentor us in the correct way, or if we feel we can mentor our students or our colleagues for that matter in a particular way and come up with something great which will add on to the knowledge, I think there is nothing short in that support of that. Also, institutional support can also be in the lines of aligning research with institutional goals, right? So in today's world, everything is being aligned to the 17 SDGs that are there by the UN. So if you are able to align, and if you go on for the good journals for ABDC category, you will find that if your research should actually be aligned to one of the SDGs, more than one of the SDGs. So whenever you are trying to find or do anything with the research, always align your research with an SDG. That is one of the most crucial part that you can do while aiming for good journals also. So when you're aiming for good journals, first and foremost, align your research with one or two SDGs, Then whatever journal you're aiming for, see what the previous research papers have done in that part, and then your institution can also, because each institution nowadays also have certain SDGs aligned, you can actually follow a roadmap there. Whatever institution SDGs are, whatever research SDGs are, whatever your journal SDGs are, align them together and see how you can not just add on knowledge to the journal, but your institute also, because you are an asset to your institute, and that is how you will add on to the institute, and that's how the institute would also support you. Last, of course, is doing a research driven professional development. So attend FDPs, in fact, go for physical FDPs, go for programs that help you understand different methodologies, help you understand different things that are being used in current research. So, for example, in today's world, we all know that we are having certain AI tools that are being used for research. Now, I'm not saying just type anything on AI and copy paste it. No, there are certain ethical ways in which you can actually take help of those AIs. AIs are tools that can be used to make your research better. So let's work on that. Let's learn about those tools. So attend workshops that actually drive you in that particular dimension. On that note, I will just ask you one more question. Okay, a quick question from the audience. Now, how many of you are actually using AI tools in your research? If you're using any AI tools, audience, you can actually type in your messages. If you don't want to speak, it's okay. You can type it. How many of us actually use AI tools? I think Dr. Namrata Yadav has raised her hand. She can.
I'll just see if Namrata wants to talk. We have some comments coming in the box also.
Very little. Okay. All right.
Dr. Seema Gupta, Dr. Said, they're saying yes. Dr. Kanta the Great and all, they're saying yes on this.
All right. So okay, really. Okay, all right. Understood. So most of us are afraid to use AI tools, I think, but both for teaching and for research, yes. But actually, AI tools are nothing to be afraid of. So there is a way of ethically using these tools. We should actually learn that way. So it's simple. If you have your data and using, let's say, SPSS tool, right? I'm using a tool to analyze it for me. Same ways, AI is a tool. I'm using it to do the review part for me, let's say. Earlier, we used to do it on our own. Now, AI is able to do it for us. So I'm using a tool to do it for us, but the idea is mine. I know where the gap was. I came up with the problem identification. I identified the problem. I'm just giving the prompt to a tool to search that part for me in that data, right? Or in that particular, let's say, hub where the entire data is. I'm just asking it to do the research in a faster way. So there's no, I think we should not be afraid to use AI tools. We should know how to use it and how to implement that result. So whenever we get,
I may ask something from my own knowledge in this particular context. Yeah, this NEP.
Yes, ma'am.
NEP has encouraged the nation and the teachers specifically that the language should not be a bar while we teach or while we do research.
Exactly.
So I think this is why I haven't tried ever AI tools for teaching or research. But what I get from your talk is you're very positively quoting this thing that maybe for this particular purpose it is quite helpful for those who have some linguistic bars or maybe language based bars. I think this is quite helpful in that case.
Exactly, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. See, because English for most of us is not the first language.
Yes.
And if we aim for very good journals, that is a barrier for most of us. We are not able to write up to that mark. So if there's a tool available which is helping us in an ethical way. There is nothing wrong with it. But we should know how to use it. We should know how to implement that. I'm not saying copy and paste whatever is there. No. Take an idea. You'll get the entire gist, entire summary. You can always improvise on it, right? Or you can
Dr.
always take
Narendra,
the
yes,
references from it.
Dr. Narendra has raised a very, very genuine doubt, which even it is quite disturbing for even me also when we work as editors of some journals and all. This is a very rational, ma'am. Can you put light on
Right.
this? It's very helpful for all of us, I think.
Right. So he has said that when we do plagiarism using Turnitin, it shows AI plagiarism.
Hmm.
Is it permissible in research? So, okay. So currently, most of the journals allow certain part of AI, and let's say some of the journals are saying that 20% of AI plagiarism is allowed. So there are journals which are allowing it, there are journals which are not allowing it. Now, what I am saying is you use it as a tool, you don't copy paste it. What that means is if the AI is summarizing something for you, you read that and you write it on your own then, because it is doing the work for you. But then by the end of it, you have to write it on your own. So that is where we bring the ethics part. AI is helping us narrow down a research, or AI is helping us research the entire, let's say I have 500 research papers. Now I don't have time to read those 500 research papers, but AI is able to do that for me. So now I have the entire data with me. I have the summaries of the paper. I can ask AI which are the important papers that are highlighting the key problems for me. And then maybe I can read those papers. It has shortlisted those papers for me. Now the time that I wasted in reading earlier those 100, 200 papers and shortlisting them, AI is doing that. Now what I can do, I can actually choose those 50 papers that are most relevant for my research and use it as my knowledge and then improvise on that. Or if AI is able to actually summarize those research papers, I can read that summary, put it in my own words. It's nothing wrong if you are able to read and put it in your own words. That is the ethical way of using the AI.
Hmm. Dr. Bhavna
So
wants to
that's
talk
how
to
we
you.
can actually.
Right, ma'am. Dr. Bhavna
Yes,
wants to talk to you, ma'am. Arun, please unmute, ma'am,
yes,
and then
yes, ma'am.
Ragini also. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. The participants can unmute themselves also. Like I don't need to unmute them.
Right, perfect. Dr. Bhavna, you may please, yes. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Dr. Ragini,
All right.
you're muted.
Yes, Dr. Agni, I have unmuted you.
Yes,
It's
please.
Okay. She said it's by mistake. Okay, there's a very good question that is being asked regarding the reliability of AI tools. Okay, so there are certain tools which are stating as in they are stating the databases behind them. Some of the tools are following. So all of you who have the access of Scopus, there is a Scopus AI. Now Scopus AI is using Scopus data only. So the reliability of that is of course based on the Scopus database, and Scopus is one of the best indexing that is there in the world, right? So you should know which tool you're supposed to use. I can't use ChatGPT for relying on the data per se. And ChatGPT nowadays is also giving certain references. So I always have to go back to those references and check whether those references are correct or not. So that is a part on me, right? As a researcher, I always have to recheck that. So AI, that's what I said. If AI is actually summarizing 100 or 200 papers for me, and I'm saying pick out the best 50 papers, it's giving me the link of best 50 papers. I, as a researcher, should find time and click on those 50 papers and see whether they're actually there and they're stating the same thing. It has reduced my 1 month's time into maybe a week's time, right? This is what AI has done for me. I don't have to waste a month now reading those 100 papers. I can actually do it in 1 or 2 days, reading only those 20 or 50 papers that are relevant for me. So let's work in that way. Let's not be completely reliable on a tool, but let's use it as something which is helpful for us. I think I've answered the question on the reliability part. So there are certain tools and there are certain workshops of AI also, which if you think you'll be able to relate to different parts. So there are certain AI tools which are able to do very good research for you. So let's say consensus or perplexity, they are actually linking all the good papers. And if you have the paid versions are actually more reliable as compared to the unpaid versions because they're using core data. So if they're paid, of course, they have good access to the database then. So that's why they're taking the fees for that because then they have database access. If they are unpaid, then of course they don't have database access. But of course, if you are willing to learn or move ahead in the AI, and I think our current time is such that we should always keep learning the new tools because if we don't learn, then we are wasting our own time and actually letting go of something which we can build on. Right? As academicians, as researchers, you have everything available. By who's stopping you to go and learn? So we should always aim and learn for that. There's another question, I think. Use Perplexity the same way we use Google. It helps me find research paper easily. So yes, exactly like I said, Perplexity is one of the very good tools that is out there. Even Consensus, I've used Consensus as well. Copilot is also there. So there are certain paid tools which are extremely helpful nowadays. And again, I'll repeat myself. I'm not saying copy paste it. I'm saying you'll have the summarized data with you then. You have the top 50 research papers that you were looking for in the 500, 1000 research paper data set. Now you can always read those top 50. That is what you can do on your own and not rely on that tool there. Because then once you read, only then you'll be able to come up with a solution to the problem you've identified in your research. Otherwise, AI is coming up with the solution and that'll be a very generic solution and it'll give the same solution to hundreds of people. So never copy paste a solution which AI is giving you based on the problem. Read those papers. Your mind will give up a solution which only you will be able to interpret on your own. So that is why your reliability will come in. AI on WebEx to provide summary of your talk. Okay, all right. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Use these tools for your support. These are support tools. Can be used for support. We should not rely completely on them, but we can always use them as a support. Like we use SPSS, like we use MS Excel, like we use MS Word for that matter. All right. Any other queries? All right. I think that is what. Okay. So one of the thoughts that I wanted to discuss on this entire topic was in many of my interviews and in one of my recent interviews also, I was asked to either take a job of a researcher or I can go for teaching. So there are nowadays, of course, in the NEP also it mentions you can be a professor who's into hardcore research and have a limited number of lectures and or no lecture at all, or you can actually go for hardcore teaching and have a limited number of research, vice versa. So what I believed and what I think a lot of us do believe is that if I'm not able to provide the knowledge that I'm researching on to my students, I, by the end of the day, will not be fulfilled. So the entire process of learning something and sharing that knowledge in the classroom, that's what gives me happiness. And I think as academicians, if you've entered this field, you've also be finding happiness there. So derive that knowledge, find that insight, find that happiness that, okay, this is something that I created on my own and I can now share it with my students. And then try and find out insights from those students and then work again on that. That's what should be there in this entire linking of research and academics, right? So that's how you link both the things. You read, you study that, you reflect on that, you do research on that, you find your insights, you go back to your students, you share those insights, you reflect again with your students, you ask for their insights. And if you're able to find certain insights from them, you push them, you mentor them, you ask them to do their research. And then they publish their own insights. And then you use those insights again. So that's an ecosystem that we should actually go for. Not just having our own research, pushing our students, pushing our colleagues to share and actually provide new insights from their own mind. See, our mind is there having n number of possibilities, and we actually sometimes, because of time, because of some or the other reasons, tend to not reflect back on that. So I would actually urge everyone who's listening right now to, whenever you read anything, try and write down those points that are there in your mind, because it's there at the back of everyone's mind. I know if you're there in this field, you are reading, I'm sure, and these points will always pop up whenever you're reading any topic. That, okay, why is this happening? Where did this come from? How can we do this further? Maybe this was not done in this way, maybe we can do it now in this way. Maybe with the advancement that is happening, there is a gap, definitely. Let's work on this. Or maybe a student questioned you something, you did not know about it, you went back, and then there's a gap. You push your student then, because it was his or her idea. You push your student to further research on it. You mentor them. So that's the roadmap that we want to follow.
Dr. Rakesh has written a very commonly felt doubt, which even dominates my teacher's mind and research mind also, quite to a large extent. So, ma'am, can you please just give your views on this? Dr. Rakesh, second last.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have observed use of AI by young scholars lead to a loss of research abilities in terms of academic writing and critical thinking. The way human mind learns, instead reflecting and reframing, use of AI. Yes, exactly. Absolutely, sir. I completely agree with you. And that's why I'm, again, I think, quoting myself here, don't rely on AI, use it as a support tool. So earlier, when we used to enter keywords in search bars and had thousands of papers mapping with those keywords, now we can use AI tools to summarize those thousands of papers and tell us which are the best 50, 100 papers out of those 1,000. Have the summary table also with us. And then, of course, when the summary table is there, click on those research papers, go back to those research papers, read them, form your own pedagogies from there, form your own summaries from there, form your own insights from there, and then develop on that. So that's where you have to draw a line as a researcher, as young researchers especially, because now with n number of tools available, we tend to go on copy and paste, and that's why we are hampering our creativity, our reflection of mind, and our growth at the end. So very well put point, sir. I completely agree, and I'm saying that this tool of AI, even in the classroom for that matter, when we are there in the classroom, students are using devices. We can always push our students to use those AI tools in a positive way. So there is actually, if you follow, I think most of us are members of Harvard, right? Harvard Business Review. So a lot of cases are published there, and there was one case there which actually the teachers actually pushed their students to use AI tools, and they had great insights there. Now students are tech savvy these days; they already know how to use these tools. Now, what we can do is we can mentor them in the correct way, how to use it, and how can they actually gain insights by using it. So that's what the entire part here is, guiding the students on how and when to use those AI tools. Reiterating myself, do not copy paste. Ask the students not to copy paste. Ask them to use it as a support tool. Okay, any other questions? I think I've answered Sir's question. Exactly. Like last comment is also there. Yes, research should be done. How to improve for Scopus in text journals or Springer, especially doctrinal study. Okay. So very great. I think this is one of the questions which is there in the law fraternity and social circle as well. That I know in this particular field, most of you do not ideally go for empirical research because you have a lot of qualitative data. And that's why you're not able to actually go for empirical research. So there are great Scopus Indus journals and Springer journals who publish great qualitative research. What you can do is actually take the help of AI, formulate certain tabular forms of qualitative data. Now, if you're able to see in today's day and age, if there is something which is written in plain paragraph form, or if you have actually improvised it, reduced it down into a table, and given a certain insight in the form of a flowchart also, that is also an insight. That is also a model that you're building on. So if you're able to draw insights from your qualitative part, you would be able to pitch in your research in a better way to Scopus Index journals. So even if you have qualitative data, you can always formulate it in a manner that looks more discrete in nature and has the result on the basis of that, right? Rather than framing paragraphs, put it in the form of a tabular form or put it in the form of flowcharts. Now, those flowcharts would ideally be formulated in the form of models, which you can work on. Because theoretical research, if you're doing doctrinal, you're actually proposing those models. Then empirical tests them. So if you're proposing a model, you should ideally make them in the form of yes. Yes, you can of course use NVivo and MaxDA and a lot of qualitative softwares. Do thematic research with the help of them. You can use using NVivo for that matter. You have those mind maps, sorry, that is there. So that makes your entire research more attractive also and gives great insights. So definitely go for that, NVivo. Absolutely. And there are, like I'm saying, I'm not an expert in AI tools. I know a few, and we should always learn about them and try and use them. So use these tools. And that's how you can actually aim for good in scope index journals, finger journals, anywhere. Try, and like I said in my presentation also, have mini research targets in semesters. Because if you aim for bigger research targets, we tend to fall back. So have many targets. Okay, let's use only NVivo for this particular case study and see what the entire mind map is coming as. And then you can publish it as a case study first. If it is published, you can work on that, build on that, maybe use it as a paper then in the next semester. So have mini targets, have mini research targets. Have I answered? Is there any other question? All right, so I'll just end it quickly because we're running short on time. So just few things remaining. Ma'am, I'll just quickly share my screen. Okay, so I'll just quickly wrap it. So few takeaways are research is essential for teaching excellence, like we've discussed. If you're aiming for excellence, you always have research in the back of your mind because you're aiming for something which is improving in knowledge. How do you do that? You identify, you review, you analyze it, you implement it, and most importantly, you reflect on it. If you don't reflect on it, you will not be able to gain certain insights out of it. So always follow this process of identifying, reviewing what you're teaching, analyze what you're teaching, where you're missing certain concepts, implement what you're analyzing. If you found a gap somewhere, always write it down and do a research there. That's the implementation part. Always formulate something out of it. Maybe a case study, maybe a short chapter, maybe a short article, a newspaper article for that matter, anything. Implement it. And once you've implemented it, published it somewhere, shared it on an open portal. In fact, for that matter, you can always even write a blog. Your thoughts can be shared anywhere nowadays, right? You can start a blog in that matter. Reflect on that. Once you've shared it, reflect it, because only after reflecting do you come up with great insights. And collaborate. Always collaborate. Never be afraid to share your ideas. I've come across this I think in my few years of teaching and research, that some of us are actually not confident enough, or some of us are scared to share their ideas. If you have your idea, you actually know how to go about it. And if you're able to share your idea, you'll be able to find great collaborators and be helping you to build on that. So have faith in each other and collaborate and integrate those ideas on a daily basis. That's what we as researchers can do. All right. So this was a part of the discussion and the question that I had, that what research question will you pursue now, and how will you implement your findings in the teaching? So this is my question to you. You actually have, because see, all of us are, most of us will be teaching, right? So there'll be certain research questions that you have at the back of your mind. So note down those questions. Work on those 2-3 questions. Note it down. And how will you implement those findings in teaching? This is a short exercise.
Yeah, I would like to share with you. We have given one condition, kind of a condition or request, you may say, to all the colleagues, that everyone has to submit one manuscript as an eligibility criteria for getting the certificates. So all of them are developing either a blog or a research paper or an article or a book review or a curriculum pattern. So I think this can be a very good part of your lecture to help them out. So we request all the participants to share your ideas about your manuscript with ma'am. Even I think this particular question of
exactly
is it a target that.
Absolutely. I think that's point to my question, that please reflect back on that. I want all your questions to be there. You should always write it down. Reflect back on those questions. So if you have, you can share it with us as well.
Dr. Gaganpreet, please, you're most welcome. Dr. Gaganpreet, Kalpesh sir, RN, if you can see. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Gaganpreet had raised the hands, I think.
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
yes,
But
I have unmuted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I have unmuted, ma'am. Please,
I think they're saying
check it
that can't be unmuted.
I have done. Please check it out.
Okay, till the time, I think there is one
Hello.
more question that says, okay, yes,
Yes.
ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes.
हाँ हेलो मैम आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन जैसे आपने बोला कि आप रिसर्च पेपर्स लिखो, जैसे मैं पीएचडी कर रही हूँ, मेरा ना थोड़ा ये था कि पहले मैं कुछ आर्टिकल्स लिखूँ, कुछ मैं ब्लॉग्स वगैरह लिखूँ, उसके बाद रिसर्च पेपर, देन प्रॉपर पीएचडी सेम टॉपिक के ऊपर। देन टॉपिक ना मेरा चेंज हो रहा था बार बार। टॉपिक तो मेरा स्पिरिचुअलिटी के ऊपर था कि उसको सोशियोलॉजी में लेकर आऊँ, बट वो मैडम बोले कि थोड़ा चेंज करना पड़ेगा, सो इसलिए मेरा टॉपिक जो एनईपी के ऊपर आ गया अब। तो मैं जो आर्टिकल्स वगैरह है वो मैं एनईपी के ऊपर लिखना चाह रही हूँ, बट जैसे मेरा थोड़ा सा इंग्लिश में थोड़ा सा हो जाता है कि मैं उसे प्रॉपर नहीं लिख पाती हूँ, तो मैं हिंदी में लिख के ऐसा करती हूँ उसे इंग्लिश में। बट जैसे मैं जो गूगल का वो होता है ना आपका ग्रामर, जो जो इंग्लिश को प्रॉपर लिख देता है, जब मैं वो करती हूँ तो एआई आ जाता है उसके अंदर कि एआई ने लिख रखा है। ये एक चैलेंज मुझे वहां पे देखने को मिलता है।
Okay. All right. So, yes, the challenge will be there because you're using a tool who's writing for you, and then you're directly copy pasting that. So obviously the current software is actually checking whether that entire line has been written by you or you've copied pasted it somewhere. So what I can suggest on my part is, AI will give you a summary form or whatever you're doing, or AI will translate it for you. If you can rewrite those sentences, see, you have the original idea in one language, so which means that you have the evidence that it is your idea only, right? AI is translating, or some tool is translating it for you. Now, if you've translated it, maybe you can retranslate or rephrase it in your own way.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
then it would be fine because you have the original idea in some other language.
Yes.
Your original idea is there with you. It's there in writing.
And if I'm
right?
allowed to add to what Dr. Divyansha has just said, Gaganpreet ji, in this case, I also suggest, in addition to what ma'am has said, you always have one or two good friends who are good in English. Like, it is not English, Hindi or Punjabi, any language. Suppose I'm not good in Punjabi. I speak very well, but I have problem in writing spellings and all. So what I do is, I at times write Punjabi and then send it to somebody who's expert in Punjabi. Padh lo, ye theek hai na? So you can take help of those people. I think your friends are very close and very strong mentors of our progression of work when we need such help. So you be in touch with such good friends, such maybe some teachers of the school even. Some
Yes.
school teachers are very close to
Yeah.
us. You can take help of those teachers also.
Yeah, मैम वो चीज
Absolutely. Ma'am,
yeah
I
बस
completely agree with you because that
Yes,
I actually remembered my PhD journey here.
yes, yes.
So we used to do that. So
Yeah.
all of us, when we were in the coursework, we used to write certain summaries or we were given assignments and we used to check each other's assignment and ask for,
Yes,
if
yes,
you're able
yes.
to correct it, do it for us. So that's a
And yes,
great way. That's a collab.
yes.
That's
And
exactly.
then instead of going to the end of the chapter, just write 2 pages, request the person to check. Just write 3 pages so that
Exactly.
she's not burdened and our work is getting done. So it is
yes
plus and plus. What Divyansha ma'am has said, that rewrite the things, and what I have
okay
said, add the things and send it to the person who can correct it.
yes
I think it will be
good
good thing for you to work.
गुड गुड वो चीज़ें थोड़ा सा हो रही
Exactly.
थी तो मैंने पूछा मैंने कहा अभी मैं पूछ लूँ
नहीं बहुत
सेम
अच्छा
टॉपिक
है, बहुत
No,
अच्छा
no,
है.
it's a
That is
it's a great question. It's a
yes,
great question. For
yes.
language barriers, absolutely.
And we need such people who can make other feel confident about this कि ऐसा हो सकता है. This is very good that you have asked this question without having any self-proclaimed judgment about your own self कि मैं क्यों बात करूँ. We are proud of this. We are thankful
थैंक
for
यू
this rather.
और जो ग्रामरली है
Absolutely.
जैसे मैंने इंग्लिश में भी लिखा है वहाँ पे कुछ मेरे जो वर्ड्स स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक हैं अगर उसको भी वो रिफ्रेश उसको भी ठीक करता है तब भी वो एआई ही बोलता है कि इसने लिखा हुआ है वो
और
भी एक चैलेंज आता है
कई
जो
बार
इंग्लिश
एआई
में
गलत भी गाइड कर देता है. गूगल मैप जैसे करता है ना, जो लोकल लोग होते हैं
हाँ
उनको पता होता है कि ये रास्ता इजी है, बट गूगल मैप आपको 3 किलोमीटर घुमा के ले गया, फिर आपको गलत रास्ते पे ले जाएगा. सो एआई डेंजरस भी
Absolutely.
है ना. सो
Absolutely.
एआई को
Agreed,
तो
ma'am.
डिनाई नहीं करेंगे. आई थिंक योर स्कूल टीचर, योर कॉलेज टीचर, टीचर्स आर, जैसे कल राजेश गिल मैम यहाँ पे आए थे. Whenever I do
यस
some big thing, whenever I suppose I get some project or I have to apply, I write that particular thing and I send her. मैम मेरे को प्लीज गाइड करो, ये ठीक है? तो वो मैम बता देती हैं कि आप जिस दिन यहाँ पर ऐसे कर लो तो अच्छा हो जाएगा. उनका गाइड करने का तरीका भी बहुत हम्बल है. Like she
यस
corrects, but she corrects with dignity and very softly and very generously. So this way we get corrected. And even today, Kavita was there yesterday. ये बच्चे जो हैं आर्यन या दक्ष, when we do some conference element, when I type something, I always send it to them कि आप check कल पेज सर भी देखेंगे मैं करती हूँ. I ask them to check and counter check कोई गलती तो नहीं है इसमें. It is not that we are not brilliant. It is that somebody can make it better. Somebody can
ओके
add. So let's be liberal in taking maximum possible. And seniors and teachers तो हमेशा help करने के लिए होते ही हैं. We can take help of our friends and our teachers of the past.
ओके थैंक यू
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. Justine, ma'am, very well said. And I completely agree. And that's what I've been emphasizing on. Don't be afraid to collaborate in research.
Yes, yes,
We should
perfect.
always collaborate.
And
Yes. And one more
देवांश मैम,
important.
बच्चे देख रहे हैं ना आप, ये जो आर्यन है, सिया, दक्ष, रुद्राक्ष, आशीष, ये जो सिया, ये सब बच्चे जो हैं, जो कविता एंड ऑल, दे एट टाइम डू वंडरफुल राइटिंग. में कहते कहाँ से लिख के ले आते हो ये? दे डू थिंग्स इवन समटाइम्स मच बेटर देन अस. In this same
I
class में
agree.
अगर हम
I
जाते हैं,
agree,
even they
ma'am.
say things so better than us. And I always say कि जब मैं आपकी उम्र में थी, मैं बिग जीरो थी. आप मेरी उम्र में मेरी उम्र से बहुत आगे हो. So I think this is how we learn from them. So this is very
Absolutely.
good thing.
No, no,
Collaborative
no.
होने में शर्म नहीं होनी.
That's why also, yes,
Yes,
absolutely. No, ma'am, students are brilliant these days. I mean, their
very brilliant.
minds are brilliant. They come up with such great thoughts, such great
Yes.
insights. And if you're not pushing them to go for and publish that insight, then what are we doing then?
7, 8
Right?
years
So
ago, ma'am.
classroom learning,
Yes, 7,
right?
8 years ago, budget came, and in the morning I read budget आ गया, budget आ गया. I went to class 7, 8 years ago. So when I went to class, I don't know, it was, I think it was, I don't know which batch was there. मैम बजट डिस्कस करना है, तो मेरी तो पसीने छूट गए. मैंने कहा मैं कहा भैया मैं तो नहीं पढ़ के आई हूँ. I haven't studied. So give me some time. And believe me, ma'am, I told them, let me know what. They were perfect on budget within 2-3 hours of its announcement. Midnight budget अनाउंस हुआ था. They were like मतलब minister of finances talking on budget. And I told them now I'll be able to study it better. Then next day we again had session. It went on for 3-4 lectures, 3-4 days together, all together, and we completed budget in whole 1 week. But after that, every year when budget comes, मैं पहले पढ़ती हूँ कि कल कोई पूछ ना ले. मैं पढ़ के analysis करके. So this is how collaborative work, they really help and groom us. Thank you so much for giving such a good
Absolutely.
suggestion. This particular thing is very great.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. And like you said, and I would again reiterate here as well that Teachers should not restrict their insights, their research to themselves and their
Please.
colleagues. Please push your students, because students are actually having such creative minds at this age.
Yes.
And their thought process is so creative and so full of positivity right now. And they'll do wonders if you push them in the right direction. If you be great mentors, you'll be able to come up with such great research from them
Yes.
as well.
Right.
So reflect with your students as well, and that's very important. Just don't go out and they will deliver a lecture. Ask what their thoughts are, reflect on their thoughts, and try and collaborate with your students also. That is what the entire lecture for today also was, to have a collaborative research with not just your colleagues, but in the classroom with yourself and with the students that you're working with.
Hmm.
So don't restrict your research to just research papers. Open your minds always, even while teaching, and reflect back on that.
I'll
So,
have
ma'am,
to,
I think I will.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
have
sir.
to share one of the experience, like, in our PhD coursework. So first day, you must be knowing Professor V. Vijay Kumar, a
Hmm.
former VC of NLU
Yes.
Bhopal and
And then
professor
we
of
go
NLS Bangalore.
Yes.
So
Yes.
he came first day, first lecture. I write my paper not for publication, for teaching.
Hmm.
That was I line still I remember. So it was around me, you can say 15 years back. So it's a great thing to learn, right? So you do research extra, and then your credibility will increase. सर कुछ नया लेके आए, मैडम कुछ नया लेके आए, ये बुक में ऐसा लिखा है वैसा लिखा है, सर दे ऑल्सो नो. और जैसे हम 5 दिन से बात कर रहे हैं,
Yeah.
सो लाइक स्टूडेंट विल शो सर ये मोबाइल में ऐसा, दे विल शो गैजेट, सर इसमें तो ऐसा लिखा हुआ है. सो इन दैट वे इफ यू कुछ नया लेके जाते हैं, देन विल सर मैडम में कुछ दम है. आप कुछ
Yes.
नया नहीं लेके जाते हैं, दैट्स मीन मैं यही बोलता हूँ, हम रिस्पेक्ट गवा रहे हैं बिकॉज हम क्लास में कुछ नया लेके नहीं जा रहे. दैट इज वन लाइन आई वुड से.
Very right. Very right.
Absolutely. Very right, sir. Very
And
rightly put,
that's
I think.
but Sangeeta had a lecture. She was a source person for us, fortunately, day before yesterday. She started with a very good
Yes,
thing. She referred to me, but I know she was just trying to tell all the participants that जिस class को आप Google में पा सकते हैं, वो class काम की नहीं होती, in fact. So teacher has to, do something beyond and much more than what everybody can see anywhere. So, and this is how human relations can develop that skill with collaboration, as you said.
Exactly.
These things can help us develop human relations in this sense. It was such a good intellectual
Right.
talk. We are having all the, I think, Aaron, you can read, there are lots of messages of praises, lots of thanks, lots of applause for everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Divyansha. Thank you so much. It has been a brilliant, we have met several times as a family, several times as when you were participant for various conferences here. But as a resource person, you have been even more wonderful than anything else. Thank you so much. We're honored. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am,
so
so
much, ma'am,
much.
for having me. It was a great discussion and a session, and I loved sharing my insight. It was my pleasure and my honor. Thank you, Kalpesh sir. Thank you, Justine ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Honored.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
all
much
dear
for the session,
participants.
ma'am. We hope to see you again in
Thank
one
you.
of these
Yeah,
sessions.
thank you everyone.
Same
Thank you
here.
participants.
Thank you,
This
Aryan.
is
Thank you,
always
ma'am.
a beautiful journey with you all. It's the participants are very brilliant, ma'am. It is fortunately Kalpesh sir में बात करते हैं. In every FDP we get such brilliant lot of participants. They make sessions so live. You don't feel like you're sitting in a virtual session. It's such a big contribution of them. So we all thank you for this also. Good night, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Good night. God bless
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Thank you, all the participants. Great insights, great questions. I'm thankful for all the feedback that I got. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Aryan, for conducting such a brilliant session. Thank you, dear. Thank you, Kalpesh sir. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.